Do you ever find yourself resenting the constant pressure to feel like you have to keep up with social media? And I know that you're creating really intentional, meaningful content that's transforming people's lives, but you've likely convinced yourself that your content just isn't fit, isn't cut out for online. But here's the truth: the internet doesn't need louder voices. The ability to access everything from a squirrel video to theology at the touch of a fingertip is unreal. But what if I told you that when you create like your life's work, not to overuse the word content, but like the stuff you actually enjoy making, the stuff you actually enjoy thinking about and producing, when you create those things, they actually have the ability to connect and convert and still sound like you online? I can say that, but I know there's a good chance that you've convinced yourself that creating influence online means you have to be loud. And loud can be anything from following trends to platform jumping to literally just being loud and aggressive in your videos. But fortunately for you, you don't have to be loud to inspire or to lead, and I'll show you how. I'm Jordan Alvarez. I'm a strategist, artist, and educator, and I help leaders with something to say turn it into a brand that connects and a system that scales. So let's get right into it. If you've ever spent time torn in thought between, do I spend time creating my work or do I spend time promoting online? This video is going to take you from, can we be honest here, feeling like a sellout, and I can say that because I've felt those same things too, to seeing that you can meet people exactly where they're scrolling, exactly where they're showing up online, even with your deeper long form work. So deep thinkers love the long form. They love books, they love articles, podcasts, series, education, case studies, and you have my heart. I love those things too. I'm into it. I love the long form. And when you're creating that kind of content, it can feel like you have to show up with punchy, aggressive, trendy content to make the algorithm happy, to make these, invisible little bugs that tweak your medium, push it into more, in front of more eyeballs, to make them happy. And some people can make that work. I follow lots of creators who can seamlessly ride the waves of the algorithm, and they can jump on trending audio, and they can learn a platform very quickly and very easily. They can adjust between formats, and that's all great that they're able to do those things in their brand. But I also follow a lot of creators who are producing incredible work and just feel absolutely burnt out. So tired of feeling like all they do is babysit their brand whenever they want to be working and producing the thing that they really care about and that fuels them and that fires them up. So what they typically do is they say social media just isn't for me. Maybe it's I'm just lazy on social media, or maybe it's I have too much to do to keep up with social media. I can't create a following. I can't create a platform on social media. I'm having to learn a new online skill every week. Last week it was carousel, and the next week it's video, and the next week it's static post again, and the next week it's microblogs, and I've got to learn all of these new things. I just don't have time. And whatever the response is for you as a leader, as a creator, as a founder, maybe as a pastor, whatever the response is, and the reason that you're thinking my stuff just can't be online, it's just not fit for online, I'm here to tell you there is a place for it online, and you have a very unique opportunity to transform lives through what you're creating. And if you want to chat trends for a second, here's one I've been hearing a lot about, specifically from Gary Vee, and then other people, have jumped on that bandwagon. And he says that we're not operating in social media anymore. It's interest media. So cut the social, add interest. It's interest media. And that means that is incredibly good news for you, because what that means is that what you do and the format you do it in, whether it's long form podcast, whether it's articles, books, is actually your biggest asset. It's been in the past that you've had to have followers and a big audience watching you in order for your material to be put in front of them. But that's not the case anymore. People are finding you because of what they're interested in. And when what they're interested in and what you're interested in align, you have a community. You're creating an audience. So you're not lazy. And it's not that you don't understand or you don't want to follow social media trends. It's that you haven't been given a roadmap to make what you do irresistible for all of the people interested in your field. And you may be on the other side of this conversation and you have hired or you have brought someone onto your team. Maybe it's like a trendy niece or a daughter that really knows or operates well in social media. And what you found is that scheduling content is not the same as strategizing content. It's not the same as taking each piece and placing it piece by piece into a picture like a puzzle and being able to step back and see the big picture of where you want your brand to go. And while we're chatting about this, what does strategy even mean? If we throw around the word strategy, anybody can say they're creating a strategy, and they could say scheduling is strategy. And I would say, yeah, I agree with that. But strategy literally just means recognizing and prioritizing a path that gets you to the results you want. So the straight definition is it's a plan of action designed to achieve overall aim. Yesterday, for instance, my daughter had gymnastics. And so knowing my goal of getting there quickly, getting there easily, and getting there safely, I took the route I knew would accomplish the goal of arriving at gymnastics fast and safe. We started in our driveway. We drove directly to the next town over. We pulled into the parking lot where gymnastics is. She got out and went to class. Success. We achieved the overall aim of our plan of action. Now, I could have taken the route north, around the lake, through a handful of small lake towns, hop back on the interstate north of where her gymnastics class meets, drive down the interstate south, turn into the neighborhood with her gymnastics class, and then pull in, let her out at class. Success. But the difference would have been nearly an hour of travel time added to the route. The goal was quickest and easiest. We took the short route. Now, if the goal was checking out the scenery, hanging out the lake for a few hours before class, maybe stopping at Sonic to get a drink, then heading to gymnastics, the longer other route would have made more sense. Different goals, so the strategy, how I recognized and prioritized a path that fit the result I wanted, changed and produced different routes. The same is true for your marketing. Some of you are posting as if you're taking the scenic route. You're consistently scheduling. You are showing up every day in various formats. You're creating new content every day. Maybe you batch it and you do it all at one time, but still it's taking you hours to produce that content. Your strategy does not match the overall aim of your business goals. And in most cases, the content you're posting right now is using a lot of your time and your brain energy, and that's what we don't want to happen. We want that time and that brain energy to be used on your zone of genius, your expertise, the thing that people are coming to you and need you to tell them. I don't want you to spend valuable time making social media a job. I want to infuse your day with your expertise. I want to infuse your day with more space for you to think about what you do best. And again, I know an objection bouncing around in your head is that you're not loud. You're telling me, Jordan, I'm not loud. I don't want to dance. I feel like it's a waste of time to chase trending sounds. And if we were sitting face to face, you would likely tell me it just feels gimmicky. But guess what? Some of the loudest creators with the largest platforms can't monetize. They can't turn it into money. They don't know how to. They don't know how to turn all of those eyeballs into cash. And some of the most viral video creators can't produce another one. Or even if they do figure out how to produce another one and they find the formula, they don't have a strategy in place to convert those eyeballs and those views into clients. It should be a tremendous encouragement to you that thoughtful content can work on social platforms. It just needs the right packaging. So let's talk a little bit about that packaging. Let's get right into it. Let me pull back the curtain on your new strategy for showing up online. The first thing we're not going to do is create more. You've already done the work. You have an arsenal of content. I know you do because I work with creators like you all the time. You have so much material. So we're going to pull from that. We're not creating more content. The gold of your beliefs, your framework, your foundation is in that arsenal, that library that you already have. And I'm going to give you a system here in just a second for pulling it out, for digging up that gold out of the pieces that you've already created. Some of you are familiar with Dave Ramsey, and he has a strategy called the debt snowball. So essentially it's you take the smallest debt and you pay it off, pay toward it until you eventually get to the largest debt in your budget, in your financial, budget or whatever. So eventually you have everything zeroed out, smallest to biggest, and it snowballs. And you just put that money that you paid the smallest off, you put it to the next one. You put it to the next one. What we're going to do is we're going to flip that idea. We're going to take your arsenal of material. It's definitely not debt. It is an asset. We're going to take your arsenal of material and we're going to take the largest piece of content you've created and squeeze every ounce of belief and meaning from that piece of content. And if you want a painless, quick way of extracting those beliefs from as many pieces of content as you want, you're going to want to grab the custom tool that I created for creators just like you. It's called Echo Week, and you can grab it in the description below. So you've gathered your longest pieces of content. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a workshop session, maybe it's a teaching series, and you're going to ask yourself a few questions about it. Who is this for? What is it really saying? Why does it matter? What happens if someone doesn't believe it? And what's the belief underneath the advice? And when you start to ask those questions across multiple long form pieces, patterns will emerge. And that's not just content, that's your message. So first up, who is this for? Don't think too long on this. You know your audience. Who is the real person you're talking to? You know exactly who your book was written for, who your keynote was presented to. So take some notes. Who are they? What are they like? What season are they in? What do they have that feels like pressure to them right now? How are they trying to figure out problems and learning the solution to problems that they have? So in the instance of this video, wanting it to be like we're sitting at a coffee shop across from one another, but I know that I'm talking to a founder, a leader, a creator who has something to say and who regularly creates long form content, but feels a constant pressure between their big ideas, but inconsistent content and definitely like not seeing conversions in what they're doing online. Many of our core messages don't change from piece to piece. Your core beliefs don't change from piece to piece. And so it's very likely that who you're talking to is the same person likely every single time you post. So next up is, what is it really saying? So what is this long form piece of content really saying when we boil it down to the core belief and principles. So we want to cut the fluff out and ask what is true and what do we want them to do. So let's take this video for example again. These are how-tos, and I hope that they're helpful to you. I want to infuse your business with tons of tips and strategies for accomplishing the goals that you have. But at the end of the day, my what is true and what to do, the what to do is all of this strategizing on the second half of the video. But the what is true, I want you walking away without a doubt in your mind and knowing that you don't need to be loud to lead in an online space. Next is, why does it matter? Why does this piece of content that you created matter? What actually changes if someone reads it, watches it, consumes it, and then believes it and takes action? Does it unlock a door to solving their pain? Does it transform a wrong or dangerous belief that they've had about something? Do they create a better family because of it? Do they duplicate their own time and create more time doing what they love to do instead of what they have to do? Again, let's take this video for example. When you understand that this video frees up you as a deep thinker from performative marketing or feeling gimmicky online, you're finally going to be able to build consistency and convert online. And that's the truth. When you understand that you don't have to do all of that and your content is in what you've already created, you're freed up to actually build consistency and actually convert online. And that's why this video matters. And so do the same for your content. Why does your long form piece of content matter? The next question is, what happens if someone doesn't believe this? This is the cost or the consequence of remaining where you are. So when you're looking at your piece that you've chosen to do this this practice with, when you're looking at that piece, you have to ask, what is the cost if they don't do this, if they don't engage with this, if they don't follow through on the challenge or the action that we're calling them to at the end? What happens? How do they stay? Where do they remain? And that's the pain. So holding on to that belief is keeping them stuck. Tell them that. What do they stay stuck in? The environment, the relationship, the financial situation, if they don't believe this. And for you watching this online, and let's take the instance of this video again as kind of a case study for this practice. What happens if someone doesn't believe this video? Well, if the founder, leader, creator watching this video doesn't believe this, doesn't take action on this, they risk staying silent or burnout or trying to keep up with trends that don't serve them and don't serve the customers that they want to help. And that's a big risk. So do the same for your long form piece. What happens if someone doesn't believe this? And finally, what is the belief under the advice? So when we started talking about Dave Ramsey and flipping the idea of smallest debt to largest debt, and I said, no, we're going to flip it and we're going to do largest piece of content down to the smallest piece of content because that large piece is going to inform the smaller pieces as you go down. That's where my advice to you started. So what's the belief underneath the advice? The advice to you, that part, everything after the Dave Ramsey thing has been my advice to you. The belief that's underneath the advice happened first. So the belief is what I started with. I started with what I wanted you to believe and what things I knew I needed you to overcome before we could get to the advice, before you would ever listen to me about, no, it matters that you're creating content from your content. It matters that you've already made all of the long form pieces. Those things needed to be understood before you could absorb the advice. So what is the belief underneath the advice? For the instance of this video, the belief underneath the advice is that you don't have to be loud to lead online. And now I'm going to show you how in these 5 questions, how to tear apart your own content and find gold for content online. But If you were to break it down in your own business, in your case, maybe you're giving financial advice, maybe you're giving a financial plan, maybe you're teaching them how to manage their time, maybe you're showing them how to grow their business. Let's zoom out for a moment and get the bird's eye view. What worldview or core conviction must they adhere to before they can be successful in your advice? It's got to be something. There is a core conviction, there's a core belief that is holding them up like a roadblock, like a stop sign, a wall, keeping them from transforming with the information you're giving them. So when you understand that belief, when you can dig out that belief, that advice is going to be applied so much more easily. And then whenever you identify that belief, talk about it around the clock. Talk about the objections that could be preventing someone from engaging with this belief or taking on this belief as their own. Talk about the pain points of why someone may or may not follow in that belief and follow the actions that come after believing that thing. Talk about the life that is produced when that belief is taken on. And so advice is going to come so much more easily whenever you can get your audience, your people listening and watching and absorbing your material over that belief obstacle. And that belief is what builds trust and not just reach. That's what we want. We want trust and not just reach. And for you, you need to know that your message is more powerful than a marketing trick. We're not bending over backwards to appease the algorithm. Your message is meaningful and it's unique and people need it. You just need a strategy. And like I said before, patterns will start to emerge. They'll start to bubble up to the top. And when you see those patterns, that's the foundation of your messaging. And that's the messaging that people should be seeing online on whatever social platforms you're showing up on. So as a recap, start with the big ideas, start with the longest form pieces of the content you've created, those huge assets, those podcasts, those sermons, those keynotes, those chapters of your book, sessions of your digital course. Start with those, ask yourself these 5 questions, and then pull out core beliefs, quotes, frameworks, emotional hooks, frequently asked questions. I mean, in even those 5 things, you've got dozens of potential pieces of content. You are literally going to have an arsenal of content from each long form asset, from each long form piece of content. And then you repurpose. You repurpose those into reels and carousels and blogs and newsletters and sales funnels and web copy, and you use that everywhere that you show up. And it's all already created. You've already done the work. I strategize and structure thought leaders' marketing every day. I work with clients just like you, where we're gleaning from their long form thought and we're creating an online presence that looks and feels just like them, just like being with them in community. And if working together is something you'd be interested in, I would love to chat more with you and see if it would be a good fit. You can reach out to me. There's a link below in the description, and you can hop on my calendar and schedule a call there. I look forward to chatting with you. And hey, y'all go make marketing kind.